Hello, everybody. What's going on? In the recent past days, we have seen the rise of the titles heavily inspired by gaming grades that offer an enjoyable time thanks to the high quality of their experiences, which make it easy to see past the almost complete lack of the innovation. So basically, the games. I'm not trying to say that the games are going worse nowadays, but still, at the same time, some of those games allow fans of the genres that don't see much representation nowadays to experience more of what they love. This is what exactly Storm in Teacher Steel Seed is, a very solid action adventure game that immediately brings the Uncharted series in, and turn other games that have been heavily inspired by like Star Wars Jedi series to mine that delivers a solid action adventure experience that all fans of the genre will surely like. So the game called Still See, the platform, it goes on the PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox X and S, and developed a Storm in a Teacup. So Steel City is a sad itself is a dark sci-fi world dominated by machines where humanity is on the brink of the destruction. Following a short dream-like sequence where the main character Zoe briefly converses her with her father, the young woman wakes up in the world that feels all but alien to her eyes. And not just world around her, as she has been turned into the robot without any explanation. The new capabilities this new body grants her, however, are just perfect for the journey that awaits her inside a hostile underground facility, at the end of which she will find out the answers she seeks. This journey won't be easy, and it only will um, with the help of her drone companion Cubby and the mysterious S4VI, who seems to be guiding her towards the answers her father, Dr. Archer, wanted her to find. That Zoe will be able to understand what happened to humanity, why every machine she encounters is intent on killing her, and the involvement on her father in the events that led to the almost complete extinction of the humanity. The story of the Steel Seeds is narrated using both typical cutscenes and a series of optional data logs hidden inside the underground facility that provide additional information on the events that led to the current state of the world. In terms of character development, the main character Zoe is mostly developed using the dialogue sequences during the gameplay, of which there are quite a few. The young woman offers converse with the drone Colby, who speaks a language only Zoe can understand, while traversing the imposing underground facility, making these sequences feels like a monologues Aloy often launched into the Horizon series. So the series developed in Gabrielia has obviously been a massive influence on the Steel Seed, as the shades of the Zero Dawn story can be easily spotted during the adventure, as can those of the near replicants of Trove, with the massive emotional impact in the first entry in the series created by Yoko Taro has still, despite the feel on one of being there done that. The story is entertaining enough and provides enough motivation to continue plugging in deeper into this dark, mostly mechanical world. In terms of the gameplay, Steel Series doesn't stray too far from boundaries that set in cinematic action adventure games like Uncharted series, or more closely the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, due to the almost complete linear and natural of the nature, as such as those who play these games will find experience rather familiar with a balance mix between not particularly challenging climbing platform sequences, which are made easier by the ledgers being visibly highlighted, and the stealth and the combat scenarios. While the platforming sequences are not challenging at all, they are still enjoyable thanks to their varied design. Some choices cameras angles that provide stunning views of the mechanical world the game, and Zoe excellent mobility that makes her a joy to control, although jumps do feel a little too floaty. Platforming is without a doubt one of the strongest suits of the Steel experience, as the vast majority of the transversal challenges are well throughout, and even some feel proper puzzles that involve not only maneuvering Zoe but also using Toby to activate the switches, which has also come in the time-sensitive variety, making the platforming sequence really nice to play. And if transversal and platforming in Steel Seed are heavily influenced by the Uncharted series, Combat has been influenced by slew of the other games. Going from the footage releases before the game's launch, Steel Seed may feel a little bit like a Souls-like, But sure, the genre spawned by the From Software series definitely influenced the steel seed combat in many ways. I mean, in some ways probably, but aside of the weighty feel and the ability to use light and heavy attacks by the game Storm in the Teacup feels nothing like the Soul series and its genre is spawned. So what I should say, the lack of stamina bar also highlights what, in my opinion, the biggest issue of the combat in the game, and it's the lack of deep. While only some exceptions, the vast majority of enemies, which include both long-ranged and melee fighters, can be defeated by mashing the light attack button, rendering the most combat mechanics a little pointless. Some enemies will fight back and resist in getting strategy locked by multiple attacks to be sure, but still combat is definitely not the game's forte. The extensive but not particularly deep combat highlights even more the Steel Seed is first and foremost a stealth game. In this regard, the game delivers a basic yet solid experience, providing Zoe with the tools she needs to sneak past enemies unnoticed, which include the ability to use walls as a cover and shoot different bullet types using Toby that can use to distract the enemies, silent takedowns against unaware enemies, talking advantages of anything the environment offers, including some special fields that completely conceal Zoe's presence and so on. Thanks to a varied level design, Steel gameplay feels engaging from the beginning to the end, although the experience tends to drag a bit towards the end. Considering how stealth is never required to proceed, it is entirely possible to always fight enemies head on, which is a nice touch that gives players more options regarding how they want to tackle the campaign. So, possible attempting to address the reputation that inevitably settles in a few hours into the Steel Seed game features an interesting take on character progression that also does a great job of telling players how to use the many abilities of Zoe disposal. During the course of the adventure, Zoe is able to collect the glitch and experience points like currency that can be used to unlock different skills available via three different skill trees. For skills to become unlockable, however, players will need to complete some variety simple challenges that often involve using the other skills properly, such as scanning and the environment to tag enemies, use the perfect dodges and certain amount of times, and so on and so on. The organic approaches to character progression works extremely well, and it doesn't force grinding or anything else that doesn't fit right into the natural flow of the adventures. And it's really great feature that I hope will make an appearance in the other games to reduce the amount of tedious, busy work that often gets rewarded poorly. So, and also the game was on the Unreal Engine Pi 5, and on the PC, SteelSeed offers the plenty additional options that over the console releases would support NVIDIA DLS, AMD FSR3, Intel X ESS, and the Unreal Engine 5 DSR in results of upscaling solution and bleeding of graphics option tweak, including post-processing effects. So basically, the game I was playing on the PC, and well, long story short, let's talk about the cons and the pros. So I will give you two cons: the combat lack of depth and the repetition that take long to set in. And the pros, it's a great world design, engaging transversal challenges that sometimes feel like a puzzles, and a solid style of mechanics. Well, thank you for watching. Everything will be on the video description. Peace out. Bye.